Good afternoon, everyone. So today we'll be discussing about topic 22, which is all about types of literature. This is in connection with what we discussed on the later part, which is about literature. So let me share to you my screen. So I got this one from SlideShare still. It's, I'm connected with the SlideShare, and we have it from the word literature. It's a recap of what we discussed last time. We have the word literature, and we defined the word literature, a Latin word from litera, which means letter. This is a body of literary production, either oral, written, or visual, containing imaginative language that realistically portrays thoughts, emotions, and experiences of the human condition. So I think not just a quick background of literature. So anything that is oral, written, and visual. So it's oral. We say oral, it is talk and merely with the association with our mouth as you are to speak, write or written, with the association with our hands, and the visual association with our eyes because it's a way of visualizing and we can visualize things without our eyes. Imaginative language that realistically portrays thoughts, emotions, and experiences of the human condition. So it can be both non-fiction or fiction. Is a non-fiction is based on your experience, not your emotion. But when you say thoughts, that's that pertains to the fiction, which means through your imagination. And then looking into it, we also have last time we discussed about this major types of literature. And they have number one is prose. So the word prose comes from prosa, which means straightforward. So it consists of written works within the common flow of conversation presented in a straightforward manner. And number one type of prose is novel. One. So we have two major types. The first type is the prose. Later on, we'll discuss about the second type, which is poetry. So in the first type of literature, we have um, example, which is a novel. So a novel, this is a long narrative divided into chapters. So the events may be taken from true to life stories and spans for a long period of time. So there are many characters involved in this novel. No? Many scenarios, many settings, because that is a novel. No? That is why it is called a novel because it is divided into chapters. It's a long story for that. And we have examples like Harry Potter, which has been chunked into different books, diba? If you're a Harry Potter fan, you would really watch all the seasons of Harry Potter to say, yes, book of Harry Potter. And of course, the Twilight Saga that you already know. Looking up to the and you also have this Jane Austen and the Count of Monte Cristo. And I thought this too has been also produced in a movie. Still remember those things? Or have you seen those things? Number two type of prose is short story. So unlike novel, short story is a narrative involving one or more characters, one plot, and one single impression. Unlike novel, it has a lot of setting, has a lot of characters. This short story has only a limit of one or more character and one plot and one single impression. So we have example, The Necklace, The Last Leaf by O. Henry. I still remember the necklace. No? Actually, kung mo ang story ani is kadong old man siya, di siya kapalit. Sold niya ang iyang watch niya into necklace and so on. No, they have different versions on the story. But one thing's for sure, there's only one plot and one setting, no, and only one or more characters. Third is play. So this is presented on a stage. It's divided into acts, and each act has many scenes. Play. Um, we need to consider in a play, in prose, which is a play. No, it actually has a lot of scenes. More lang. It is presented in a play, in a stage rather. and then each thing on each act has its own scenes, in one setting. Fourth is legends. These are factual narratives. It's only about origins. So it provides historical information regarding the culture and use a particular group of people or country. So like the Bicol legend, legend of the pineapple, legend of the macahiya. Now, why such thing there is a pineapple? Why such thing, and how this are made up into like that one, like a pineapple, like a macahiya. For example, um, in the Filipino setting, we have a lot of movies that from legend to um, movies ilang portrayed. Like for example, ano, Hiraye Manawari. No, you still remember that title, Hiraye Manawari on ABS-CBN before? No, let's look at this example. E. Folk tales. So a traditional narrative usually anonymous and handed down orally. That's where folk tales mga sabi-sabi. No? Example, the adventures of Juan, the hawk, and the hen, fairy tales. Fairy tales are also example of folk tales. They believe in mga diwata daw sa kugubatan nga naay every daw mountain adi daw diwata nga nagpatak sa isa ka lugar, no. Wala mga tinuuhan sa mga kapigulangan, no? Which is called folk tales. Or si Juan Tamad, no, nahulat ka sa saging na mo man mahagbong sa iyang baba. And also fables, so especially types of special types of folktale. It's under the folktales. These are also fictitious, and they deal with animals and inanimate things who speak and act like people. So the purpose is to enlighten the minds of children to events that can mold their ways and attitude. So we have Ace of Fables, the Lion and the Mouse. Fables, like for example, um, ang mga iring, ang mga ilaga, mga kuya, no? So they give life, actually they give another thing, another like they give the power or the ability to speak to the animals, no? Whatever. It was a movies niya. Ang ilaga, Mosturia, ano. So they also give and also inanimate things like libro, Mosturia, tasa, Mosturia, ganun. Those were part of it. And myths. So a traditional sacred story typically revolving around the activities of gods and heroes, which aim to expand a natural phenomenon or cultural practice. So myth on mythology, like the story of Cupid and Psyche, the fall of Troy, the myths about creation, or about Poseidon, no? With Zeus, Athena, which is the goddess of beauty. Those are part of myths. You still remember the heroes or heroine in mythology, Greek mythology, way back in your what do you call this one? High school years. Next, it's loading. Let's wait for a bit. It's kind of loading. I don't know what happened. Okay, again. So we also have anecdotes. So these are merely products of the writers. Mhm. Okay, here it is. There's a disruption because Zoom is not responding to my request. So next is anecdotes. These are merely products of the writer's imagination, and the main aim is to bring out lessons to the reader. So they have the moth and the lamp, the best advice I ever had. So anecdotes or just gagmay lang nga kuan, gamay lang siya nga kanang written literature, but it has really good lessons that we can take. We can say we, the readers of the certain books or of literature. So we also have essay. This expresses the viewpoint or opinions of the writers about a particular problem or event. So the best example of this is the editorial page of a newspaper. Examples are of studies, Evans Bacon, on doors, by Christopher Moreland. So this kind of essay, actually we've been a lot of our teachers from elementary, high school, college would help us to be good essay writers. I believe no, we can kind of have what is your New Year's resolution? How did you spend your holiday season, your Christmas season? Diba? Or we always been bombarded with this kind of um writings, with essays. So it totally expresses our viewpoint or opinions. So it's this essay is more on your opinion, or it's opinionated on a particular problem or event. And we also have biography. So this deals with the life of a person, which may be about himself. His autobiography or what that of others. So Cayetano Arellano, Socorro Albert, or could be biography of Ma'am Pundang, it could be, or anyone, So it's just deals with the personal life and how that person conquered everything despite of or in spite of, and how was he able to rise within the with the silver lining that they have. And the study. So this is a report of everyday events in society, government, science, and industry, accidents happening nationally or not. So that's why we have also local news, not only national news, but also local news. Important, of course, because they are situated. There will be also news, that are also relevant in our day-to-day living. And oration, so it is a formal treatment of a subject and is intended to be spoken in public. So it appeals to the intellect, to the will, or the emotions of the audience. That's why it is called oration. That is because it will be spoken in public, orally, oration. So it should be spoken in public because of what we are and what we believe. I have a dream, Martin Luther King. I have a dream. Ganun. So oration will deal more on your pronunciation, your facial expression, your gestures as you are going to talk in a big crowd. That